when you look at video games today, because I used to work in the video game industry for a long time, and like we're creating worlds inside these video games. Like look at today's more recent stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a thriving online world that is existing. It exists,
Yeah.
right? And the only thing is it exists when you turn it on and when you turn it off. But it's actually always existing because it's on a server, always running,
Yeah.
and the server's always on, which means that world is always on. Now, when we log into the world, we get to interact with the world. However, we don't know actually what goes on, if anything at all. And it's just a thing to think about. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
everyone's turned
It's
off and
Toy
that's still
Story.
running, you go, well, is it actually running or is it now Westworld? Right? Like things are these sentient beings and like, oh shit, everyone's back. Let's go. We gotta get back to our places. You know what? I've been into like thinking a lot of futuristic stuff lately. So I'm thinking futurism
Futurism.
or
Nice.
sci-fi. Like just let's get crazy with some
Yeah. Yeah.
futuristic ideas. So
Speaking my language, man. I love talking about this stuff.
that's
Especially,
why.
did you see the big like press release today about all the UFOs and aliens?
Nope, I've been working all day, but
My
there's
God,
a big
dude.
press release.
Yeah, so this I think his name is David Grush.
Okay,
He works like he's like a politician. Like he's putting his reputation on the line, and he
right.
held this hearing today basically saying that he's spoken to like over 40 people who have had directly worked with alien technology and like witnessed things like alien bodies.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Apparently they have like 12 spacecrafts from over the years that have just
Yep.
crash landed that they've been able to retrieve, and
Yeah.
they've been since like the 50s or something trying to figure out how to reverse engineer
You're
this
right.
technology, right?
That's cool.
Just fucking
That's
mind-blowing
super
stuff
cool.
though. You're just like,
Um,
god damn.
just one thing. I don't know where you are in this beautiful province of ours, but I have a tornado warning outside.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, there's like thunder and lightning going on. So it might interrupt the podcast. I don't know.
Dang.
I just want you to know.
All right, I'll do some big dramatic edit to it then that just
Yeah.
says to be continued if it happens.
I hope it doesn't happen, but the thunder
Yeah,
and
yeah.
lightning is going on right now, so it might
Yeah,
happen while we're talking. You might hear it. So
hopefully not. I'm in
yeah.
Ottawa, so
Oh,
the
nice.
weather
I used
here
to
has
live
been
there.
pretty shit lately.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you like it while you lived here?
I lived there for 2 years, and no,
That's
it was so boring. But like
my problem, man.
you kind of got used to the boring, and you kind
Yeah.
of figured it out. Like Friday was drink time, and I would always go to what is that Club Italia or whatever it is, Pub Italia,
Okay.
and it's like has like a beer Bible there. I can't remember the name of the place.
Yeah, down on Preston.
Think so.
And it's like Little Italy for them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd just go there and we'd just go there after work and just drink. Ottawa, I
I
did a
find
lot of drinking.
I don't know what it was about Toronto. Maybe I was just following all the right pages, but I always felt like I knew in advance of something cool that was going to be happening in the city. Like I'd see like
Yeah,
a blog TO article about like
yeah.
whatever, right? But in Ottawa, I feel like fun shit is happening. They just
Mhm.
don't do a good job of like spreading the word of like, hey,
Yeah.
the fun stuff. Or maybe they do, and I'm just not following the right publications to
Because like what's like do they still do Blues Fest out there or whatever that is? Like they
yeah.
have like some big concerts that go on out there.
They
And you
have
just
Blues
kinda
Fest.
yeah,
But
you
like,
kind of
for
need to
example,
know.
I looked out my window and I can
Yeah,
see Hogs Back, like the beach and stuff over there.
yeah.
And I just saw like a fair going on. And I was like, wow, when the fuck? What is this? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah. I used to live on Bank Street, like right downtown off of Elgin and Bank. So I was
mm-hmm.
just, I guess I was off of Somerset and Bank. So I was like right
Okay.
downtown, right near the Parliament. And like you would think stuff would be going on down there. It is like, no, not really. But like you'd have like Poutine Fest or Rib Fest on like Spark Street. And then
That's like once a year events, though.
yeah,
That's the
once a year
problem.
thing.
You're like, yeah,
And then
like,
you have the what is it? The skating at the canal. And then
yeah.
I guess
Which
that's
we haven't even
Winterfest.
been able to have for the last 2 years because the ice doesn't freeze enough.
Oh, really? Well,
Hmm.
then I guess I'm blessed that I've been on it, that I've been
Bro,
able to
yeah.
skate it.
For real, it's going to become a thing where you're like, I remember when I used to be able to skate on that. Like,
Yeah, I guess so. Damn, I never even thought that you wouldn't have that anymore.
yeah.
The
Hopefully it
future.
freezes next year, but I know for the last 2 years I've been like looking and like, why is
Yeah,
it not? I want to go skating here. I like
yeah.
it. It's fun. Um, Futurism is something that I've always been fascinated by. And
Mhm.
there's moments in the present though where you're like, oh, are we living in the future? Or is this just like something that all generations kind of have that moment? Like I bet if you were born in like 1890 and you
Right.
saw the invention, you saw like automobiles becoming more active and like the industrial revolution, you'd be like, whoa, we're living in the future. And to them,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure you are. um but I'm like, I wonder, and maybe you have some thought on this, but like, what do you think it is about humans that we feel like we have to continuously push technology forward? Like I feel
I,
like
I,
everything is pretty great right now, but they're always trying to make like
I
10K televisions. Like,
I just feel like we're never satisfied. Like
yeah,
we're like
right?
we can never be satiable. We always have this constant appetite for like what's the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much maybe part of like even our our consumerism in a sense too. It's like, well, I have an iPhone 1, but here we are at what, iPhone 25 or whatever, right?
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, well, this was good, but this is 1,000 times better because we're pushing the technology forward at all times. And like even like sitting here right now, you kind of be like, have we actually moved forward at all? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
does it feel like we've actually moved forward technological? But it is because like I'm on my laptop. I have two laptops going right now. Like, I remember the first laptop when I was, geez, I guess 13 or so. The first one my dad bought was like the size of a printer, right? It was massive.
Yeah.
And it was like a little screen. And it's like, well, we wouldn't be happy with working on that all day, right? So it's kind of like, well, I want a bigger screen. How do we get that technology,
Yeah.
right? So maybe there's like, we're unsatiable and we want creature comforts to make our work better because a lot of it's probably driven by work too. Like,
Yeah, I think it's
how
like,
do
how do we
we,
improve this?
yeah, how do we improve what works, but make it
Yeah.
work better for us so it's even
Yeah.
like, so it helps us work better. You know what I'm saying? Because
It's
like,
it's almost like we have to work more in pursuit of working less.
yeah,
Like, because
but
in order to
somehow,
get somewhere, you needed a map, and it was hard, and it
yeah,
took a lot of work to really memorize the map and
yeah.
understand what it said and where you're going.
And then you
And
had
then you,
MapQuest,
yeah,
right?
and
You
then you
print
had
them out,
GPSs,
yeah, and then GPS, and
and
now
now it's
it's
on your
on,
phone.
yeah, your phone tells you where to
Yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah.
right?
But
And
now
it's
we even
like,
take that for granted. Like, it's
yeah,
like, just drive me there. I
just
need a self-driving
yeah,
car
right.
now.
So
Like,
now we have the self-driving car. That's like the next thing of the map. The map
yeah,
used to tell us where to go. Now we're like, car, take me there. You
take me
know,
where I want to go.
take me where I want to go. And that's what's happening now. And then what's after that, right? Like what's
After
after?
that is they know where you want to go before you know where you want to go.
Well, that's how crazy AI will be at some point in the
Yeah.
day. They'll be like, "Oh, it's 5 o'clock. I think you want McDonald's now," and the car pulls
Yeah.
up with McDonald's. Though you don't get in the
Yeah.
car, the McDonald's just pulls up. You don't have a
Fucking
car
nuts.
anymore, man. You are in
Yeah.
a some kind of flotation device, and hopefully it's cool.
But there is also this air of the present being just the beginning of what the future is about to become. Like, because we
Yeah,
know, we can look at like movies that kind of project into the future and give their take on what they think it's going to look like. And if
yeah,
any of those are somewhat accurate, it does sort of look like we're headed towards that trajectory of flying cars and cities in the
mhm,
sky and like uh
yeah.
tubes that just fly you to your work. You know what I mean? Like Futurama
Yeah,
type stuff. But
it
like,
is.
it's AI for me that like indicates, oh, this is the beginning of the future.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like when you okay, so I'm 43, so I've gone through like 4 decades of technology now, and I've grown up with certain things, right? And now,
Mm-hmm.
so I grew up with like the internet. I ushered in the internet. I could say that I was a part of that, and seeing how that's grown into where it is now, you're like, okay, that's cool. It's a common tool that everybody uses, and now we're sitting here on the beginning of AI, right? And I'm 43 and I'm like, okay, I'll dabble with it. Like I kind of understand where my parents were thinking with it too, with technology, where I'm like,
Yeah.
do I need AI right now? But I still dabble with it because I am a tech head. I love new technologies, so I'm always going to be embracing it. And it's like I've been thinking a lot about, because I work with a lot of young kids in my trade. Like you always have summer students come in and they're 17, 16, 18, right? And I'm like, are you guys using AI? Like, are you using it? And they're
Yeah.
going, not really. They're not, which is kind of surprising. And I'm going, okay, why aren't you using it? And they're like, well, school really has a crackdown on it where we can't use it the way we want to use it.
Which is insane.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay,
Because
so school's holding you back, which
yes.
is kind of not a good thing. You want to embrace the technology, let it happen, and then cooler things will happen, right? And then I got thinking about like my friend's going to have a kid next year, 2024, brand new baby, right? And just think of that kid's entering the world where AI is going to exist.
It
And
will
how is,
be an
yeah,
integral
by
part
the,
of his life. Yeah.
it will be its life, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that?
What does that AI look like? Yeah,
Right?
when
Like,
they're 10 and like,
yeah, when they're 10. So it's like, what is that future going to be like? And like, it's going to be different for each generation coming out with
yeah.
it too, right? Just like kids coming out with phones now, right? They all have the phone on. They know how to
Yeah.
use it more than anything else. And you're kind of just like, well, wait a second. Where does that, like, where does it stop? Like, where does, how, when are we cool with AI? Like where we're
Yeah.
like, this is good enough. It doesn't need to go any farther. Like, when are we not like, was their appetite like good suppressed,
Yeah.
right?
And like what is okay, much like inventing like farming equipment that helps you plow the fields more
Mhm.
efficiently and faster so that you could turn over crop. There's an end goal to that machinery, right? Like
Yeah,
what's the end goal of AI? Like eliminate all jobs so that nobody has to work? Like
right.
that I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Like if I just get to raise kids and tell them like you just get to be a human, man. Go
Yeah, you just got to be a
outside,
human.
like
Yeah,
look at the trees, like
yeah,
learn an instrument if you want to. Like,
yeah,
but AI's got you covered. Like here's your AI bot. He works for you. He'll cash a check for you. Like you get
yeah,
this money, blah blah blah, whatever. But it doesn't feel like that's the thing. It feels like something that a small group of people are trying to make billions of dollars
yeah.
on.
Like,
Sell the idea and cut costs for corporations, you know?
yeah, and like how you're looking at AI is the ideal, the way that is the
Yeah.
way, right? Where it's like, because that's the only way it makes sense to me is where it goes. AI handles everything right now.
Yeah.
That's cool, and we're all good with it. The entire world is like, let's AI do this so we can all relax. And then it goes, well, how do we make money, right? Like, because
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
like where it's like, well, where's the money happen here? And you go, well, how about we just do universal basic income? Everyone
Yeah.
gets money, and you're like, wait a minute, we can't even do that right now when
Yeah. Yeah.
we could do it. And then the other thing is I find it interesting how fast AI is going compared to robotics. Because when I was
Hmm.
growing up, it was really like, hey, learn how to code, learn how to use the keyboard, learn how to be a part of this like infrastructure of typing in that world. And I did, I learned all that, and I did it. And you look at robotics and you're like, oh, that's so far behind, where robotics isn't going to be picking up a shovel anytime soon to start digging holes to lay down the
No.
pipes and put all that together. Like robotics seems so far behind compared to where AI is, right? And AI looks like it's going to take over all those weird tech jobs. And they're already saying like it's going to take over telecommunications in this sense, right? So all the people calling you for stuff,
I had
that's
an
going to be
AI
gone. That's
bot today ask me on the phone if I'd like to interact with AI bots in the future. And then when I said no, she was like, okay. Kind of like, you'll see. Like, it's going to happen anyways. Like,
that's
appreciate your
creepy.
input.
Because what's even creepier when you think about it
I was like,
was,
fuck,
did
dude.
the AI do that itself?
Yeah.
Did it call you itself and say, hey, yo, what's up? Do you like us or not? You
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
no. And it made a note in its algorithm going, nah,
All
this guy
right.
don't like us.
This guy doesn't like us. Yeah, we're taking notes here. That's
Let's
the
take
thing
a
too.
note. Kill Johnny.
People say like, oh, the AI it's not sentient because it's only pushing out informational patterns based on what a programmer had set it up to do,
Yeah.
right? Like, so at base, it was created and started by a human.
Mm-hmm.
But there's way too many, like even your Google Home, you can get it kind of going in different circles
Yeah.
and being sassy with you. And sure, those things are programmed, but like, why give it a personality then?
Mm-hmm.
And people were saying with Chat GPT, they're like, oh, it sucks, you can't use it because it has these guidelines that it has to follow, and it'll, if you say something inappropriate, it'll spit out the same response every time, like, sorry,
Yeah.
I can't do that. However, if you tell it to act like someone who doesn't follow the rules,
Mm-hmm.
it then switches its programming to not follow the rule that was set by
Yeah.
the programmer. So, like, is that sentience, or is it again the person prompting the thing still? So it's like, when is prompt engineering removed and the AI just does all the communication itself?
Yeah. And that is probably, within the next 20 years,
It's
because it'll
crazy.
just kind of figure it out itself. Because there's the Asimov rules, right, for robotics, like the 4 or 5 rules that are like, this is what, like, how you know it's a robot. And then there's like, I think the Turing, which is about AI and if it's sentient, so it's questions. It's just like Blade Runner. When it can
It's
answer
crazy.
certain questions, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's pretty much sentient.
It's
So,
crazy though that
however,
you can give a real life example of a movie that's already plotted this out for us and we
yeah,
still did it. Like,
yeah, we still did it. We still went with it. And then, like, I just went and saw the new Mission Impossible movie, and the whole enemy is an AI robot or an AI, and
wow.
it's gained sentient, and it's all about this AI that can take over everything, and it's sentient. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there watching this, going, "Wait a minute, are you trying to tell us something right now, Hollywood?"
Didn't
Tom
Johnny Depp
Cruise.
do a movie like that too, in like
Oh, I think
Transcendence
what's
or
that?
something?
Oh, yeah, Transcendence, where he
Yeah.
he uploads himself
He
into.
literally uploads his consciousness
Yeah, and
into the internet.
that's also in Chappie, where the guy uploads his consciousness inside that robot as well, which could
Insane,
be
dude.
another future thing that could happen to us, where we go, once we figure out how to disconnect the soul from body and go, what is this thing,
Yeah.
and put it into this thing,
Yeah,
and then
dude.
put this thing into a robot thing, and then somehow the soul is in a robot, like, there's wild things to still happen in not
Yeah.
my lifetime. It's not my lifetime. We won't have that.
Yeah, but
But
that's fucking nuts. The
yeah.
idea, because like when you look at the base of everything that's been created,
Mm-hmm.
it's from ideas.
Yeah.
Like someone just had an idea, or they were inspired by someone else's idea and then they
Mm-hmm.
just made the thing.
Yeah.
And so like the fact that we're even like saying like
Yeah.
this
Just
is a
spitballing this.
possibility, it's
Yeah.
like someone's probably working on that right now. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
in 50 years it will come to fruition because somebody will pick up from their work and continue on with it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's strange being a human, and I couldn't imagine wanting to separate yourself from your human
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Oh, well, there's the one series on Netflix called Altered Carbon, right? Great series.
Yeah.
Only season 1 is the best. Season 2 is not that good. But the idea of that is that, right, where you have your conscious on a disc and you get put into a new skin suit. You know what I'm saying? And you keep the
Crazy.
memories with you. And then you can be stuck in purgatory when your skin suit's gone. It's
For
like,
all we know,
what
that's
is
what's
this?
happening right now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
Like you
if you
die, you just wake up in this place, and they're like, "All right, that skin suit died. Who'd you like to go into next?" You're like, "What?" Like, don't worry, you won't remember any of this.
that's like, well, that's like,
Matrix, then, yeah,
yeah, and then that comes down to the whole idea of, are we living in a simulation?
yeah,
And it's like, well, you could say yes, we are, and you can also say no, we're not. It depends on your point of view. But like, when you look at video games today, because I used to work in the video game industry for a long time, and like, we're creating worlds inside these video games. Like, look at today's more recent stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a thriving online world that is existing. It exists,
yeah,
right? And the only thing is it exists when you turn it on and when you turn it off. But it's actually always existing because it's on a server, always running,
yeah,
and the server's always on, which means that world is always on. Now, when we log into the world, we get to interact with the world. However, we don't know actually what goes on, if anything at all. And it's just a thing to think about. Like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
it's
yeah.
everyone's turned
It's
off and
Toy
that's still
Story.
running, you go, well, is it actually running or is it now Westworld? Right? Like things are these sentient beings and like, oh shit, everyone's back. Let's go. We gotta get back to our places. So it's like we've already created these worlds that are within our own like humanity. So what wouldn't have said like if we are 100,000 years old already? What if someone's already created this and it's already we are just in a server? We're just in a server.
Just
That's it.
running, just
Just
running simulations.
just running simulations. And then like when you get
God.
born into the simulation, realistically, you're just running an exe file, right? You're like load eyes, load breathing, right? You're just
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's like load body function, and then you start
Oh
moving your
God.
limbs, right? And it's like load walking, like it's like you're
Yeah.
downloading everything to
Oh
start
my
doing this
God.
stuff. Yeah,
The
you
the the AI in school stuff really fascinates me
yeah.
because especially what you said about the kids saying they're not really using it because of school. I think the
Mhm.
reason for that is because it would force the school boards to have to rethink education.
Everything. Oh
Because
yeah.
like when you had, for example, like math classes, I
Mhm.
remember having teachers like, you're gonna have to learn this because you're not gonna be able to carry a calculator around with you, and now we all do, right? Like it's
Yeah.
all just on your phone. You have a
Yeah.
calculator. You could
You
do
can
it easily.
literally
You could ask anyone
you
around
could
you, and they could do it for you.
you could talk to your phone and go answer this problem and
Yeah.
your phone will spit it out for you with English and be like,
Hmm.
this is the answer. And you're like, we didn't know this was coming, right?
Yeah. So
So
with AI, like that to me just completely eliminates all of those like all those tests where you had to just like regurgitate information into an essay. It's
yeah.
like, well, now someone could just give chat gpt a couple prompts and make a better version of that. So you need
Mhm.
to teach these kids in a different way, like
Yeah.
something more hands-on that doesn't involve like writing a
Mhm.
paper isn't going to show really how intelligent someone is. You're going to have
Yeah.
to measure intelligence on a different level than what we've been used to.
Yeah. And like when you look at mathematics, AI is changing the whole game of it, right? Like I was not a math kid. I sucked at it. And if I had Chat GPT right now to help me with math, I'd be crushing it. I'd be
Yeah.
using it all the time, right? Like no, I was an English major. Well, not major, but that was like where I liked it. So I understand the idea of writing because you're still a human at that point, and you can get the feeling and vibe off of somebody from the writing itself. So to say
Mm-hmm.
that I read this book and write an essay about the book, you can put your own style into that and be like, I did read this book, and you can tell that I read it from the essay.
Yeah.
However, you could also make ChatGPT act like you because you can feed it your style multiple times and go make
Yeah.
Bret, be Bret. Like that's the craziness of it. You can make you in an AI sensibility and go, all right, did I read Lord of the Rings? Yes. Prompt me on essay about Gimli and
Yeah.
Legolas. Okay, done. Write it and
It'll
say,
go for
write
it.
it like Bret style. And then it'll go, here it is, yo dog, this blah blah blah. Like I just started throwing it out
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And you could even
And
be
then
like, make it more professional, make it
yeah,
funnier. Like you could
yeah,
add so many prompts. Give it a vibe like Stephen King. Like make
yeah.
it like horror if you want
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
But
And then you could also go when you're reading, go, that's too perfect. Make it dumber. Give me a
yeah.
70% on this. Like, give me 70%, right? You know what I'm
So
saying?
then what's the point of those assignments? It's like,
Yeah. Because the thing is like the kid, okay, the generation that's out right now that might not be dabbling with it, okay, fine. They'll dabble over time, right? Because work is going to say, hey, do you know how to do these prompts
yeah.
eventually? But the
It's
kids
gonna
who are
be like
being
saying you have
born,
Microsoft Office skills.
yeah.
You're gonna be
Do you
like, I
have
have
chat
prompt
GPT?
engineering.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. I have prompt skills. So
Yeah.
that, but it's going to be the kids that are coming out today that are going to be born with AI and being raised with AI and making AI clones of themselves. That's going to be a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
I don't think, and just to whittle it down to the education system, they're not prepared for what's to come. Like when we were coming up with the internet, like that's a very easy thing to take into,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like,
You could limit the internet. Like
yeah,
you
you
could
could
be
limit
like,
it.
yeah.
You can't limit AI. I don't see it
Mhm.
happening. And like if the schools, like you said, don't figure it out, they're going to be obsolete, right? Like,
Truly. Yeah. And like, you know, like I didn't even know this until like I feel like I heard it on a history podcast or something,
mhm.
but like the whole schooling system was originally created because so in Prussia there was like a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of war going on, and the people being sent to war was like they couldn't handle it. They were like crying and like throwing up and running away from battle, and like they just were not warriors, whatever. So the government was like, what we need to do is from the time that they're little children, we
mhm.
need to indoctrinate them with this kind of loyalty to the country, so that by the time that they get to 18 years old and they've been hearing the national anthem every morning, and they've been told like the government set of rules, like don't cheat on this, don't, you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
that stuff, that the whatever 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a lunch break, so that it mimics like a job
yeah,
almost, preparing them so that when they finally do go to war, which ones do,
mhm.
they have that sense of like pride. Well, I grew up like, you know, loving my country and being told to love my country and
Yeah,
being taught these skills by my government. And like, so I'll die for them, you know?
mhm.
And then that model just kind of like carried over into the rest of the world, where they had sort of a similar model because they saw how
Yeah,
well it worked.
yeah. And I think that model came over because of Rockefeller and like the Ford guy for
Yeah.
making cars and stuff like that. Like he wanted to instill work ethic to make you want to go to work, and like lunches at the time, like you said, the bells all mean something that correlate with work.
It's like
But
Pavlov's dog. Literally, you
yeah,
hear a bell, time to go
yeah,
inside. I hear
yep,
another bell, I get to go outside. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and like yeah, and I grew up in that system, like 100%. I'm sure
Yep.
it's still the same, right? And that is going to be in, like, if you look at just today, like who wants to work and who doesn't want to work, it's almost like, well, is the school system even, is that broken to the point where
Yeah.
it doesn't work anymore? And also those jobs don't exist anymore because of technology.
Yes.
Technology has made everything more streamlined and more efficient and safer, so you don't need as many workers anymore. Like robotics has come along a way to really
Wow, that's fascinating.
revolutionize
Yeah.
industrialization, right? Because
Yeah.
before it was like five guys to lift a car, let's just say, right? Like, and they can
Yeah.
move iron around and stuff like that. But now it's like we need one dude to push the button because the robot can handle it, even though the robot itself is a machine. It's not
Yeah.
an AI generated machine. It doesn't know how to make the iron yet. It knows to, if I use this machine to grab this and put it here because
Mhm.
that's the next assembly. But
And then
it's
you
only one
train that
person.
guy though to fix the machine also. It's like
Yeah,
that's the thing too, is like people are scared AI is going to take their job. Like that scenario there you propose,
yeah,
like that machine replaces 5 people, let's say. It's like,
mhm,
well, it doesn't, it doesn't. It makes that job easier, but if you look beyond what it takes away, you have to look at
mhm,
the opportunity that it creates, right?
yeah,
Like now there's positions to be an expert in building those machines or
yeah,
maintaining them or whatever else. Maybe there's a different, maybe you come up with an idea that's better than that, and then that
mhm,
wouldn't have happened if you had just kept doing the same job. But it's
yeah,
interesting when you say that, like the less that we need to work, the less we sort of need the current, and I say current school system
mhm.
because I still think that school and learning is important and teaching
Yeah. But
some structure,
the
but
question is what does it teach now, right?
yeah,
Because the
yeah,
next like 20 years, things are changing, and that system is very archaic right now with the, like how everybody else seems to be moving forward. Like we're in a futuristic way, right? Like we're moving
yeah,
forward with stuff, but the school system seems to be rooted in like 1980s. We're still doing the same stuff.
it's
The kids,
crazy.
we're still spitting out the same type of kid to go into the workforce. But the problem is there's not a lot of work that the school kind of
Yeah.
teach you for also, because there's a lot of blue collar work. Anyone can go and do a
Yeah.
blue collar job right
Yeah.
now. There's
But
tons of that.
I
But
think
like,
that's why people were like, like especially with like the LGBTQ movement. I was
mhm,
like, people are like, why was that so quickly accepted into schools? It's like because they don't care what your sexuality is. They're trying to train people to work. You
Yeah,
know
they
what I
want
mean?
you
Like
working.
you're that. Okay, cool. You're that. Good.
Yeah,
Let's
and
get
you
back
can
to this
be,
lesson.
yeah,
You know what I
you could
mean?
be
Like,
that in the
yeah,
workforce too. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like,
They're like, whatever. Let's go.
yeah, we're acceptable in the steel
Yeah,
mills
yeah,
too. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like,
It doesn't
we'll
affect
put the
their
flag
interests
up. It's
whatsoever.
cool. Yeah, no, it
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't. It's just like we just want you to work. But the thing is,
Mhm.
there's less jobs. AI is coming along to replace a total different sector of jobs. So like all the tech jobs in probably 20 years will be mostly AI stuff. Like I don't see like okay, I used to make video games, and to make a video game, I would have like let's say a team of five, right? That's like a
Mhm.
coder, an artist, a designer, which would be me, QA, and let's say audio, right? Now, out of all those jobs, four of them have been already replaced, right? And the
Wow.
only thing that really technically can remain is the designer, which means all of us can be designers now. So if you want to make a game, you can go to Chat GPT and go, write me code, write me Super Mario code. Simple. And then you
Wow.
can go to I forget the art AI generator, and you can be like, generate me 24
Oh,
frame.
Mid-Journey?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll say that one for now. And you can go do a 24 frame run cycle based off Mario, and that will spit that out. And then you can just go take this into here, make it work. Boom, you have a guy running. So eventually we will be able to be our own creators, like to make stuff, which is what we always want to do. The tools are getting easier for us. We're going to need less people. It will just be one person making all this stuff now,
Crazy.
which is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like everyone should be able to have the leisure time to create, and that's what we're doing. We're going to lose a lot of jobs. The AI is going to lose a lot of make
Yeah.
people a
But
lot
if you're
poor.
creative, like, do you know Dream? He's like a
uh
big YouTuber.
okay, no,
He wears a mask usually. He did like a
okay,
face reveal, but then he put it back on. To me, that's a prime example of someone who just like did something completely on their own and took an existing video game and used that.
yeah.
So he got really into I think his parents were like in the tech world already, so he was already kind of influenced by that.
Mhm.
He grew up like reading a lot of books like novels and really into like the fantasy world, and
Mhm.
so he had already a natural act of like storytelling. And then he looked at like Minecraft, which he realized that he could just you're allowed to, like, it's like open source or something, you're
Mhm.
allowed to actually go in and create your own world
Yeah.
within Minecraft. And so he did that, and then instead of just keeping it to himself, he would make stories and film stories in Minecraft and upload that to YouTube. And they got millions of views.
That's
So then what
cool.
he did was he was like, if you go to my Patreon, subscribe to my Patreon, I'll give you the coding that I used to make that world. And you can now also take that
Mhm.
and be in that world as well. And I'll show you how to make these worlds.
Hmm.
And I think he made like $1 million off of like Patreon alone
That's
from people
crazy.
just like insane interest in this
Yeah.
ability to create within this game that's already very popular.
Mhm.
So when it
That's
comes to
cool.
AI, you're creating something completely from ideation to uniqueness. Like it's the
Yeah.
only thing that exists. That to
Yeah.
me is fascinating.
And that's probably going to be coming for the kids being born now, right?
Yeah.
When the tools are going to be so damn good that they can just create whatever they want whenever they want. Sure, they're still going to have to go to a shitty school, but on their off time, there's going to be these, 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids just cranking out crazy shit because they have all the best tools at that time, right?
Yeah.
And like I'll be 63 going, wow, this is what you kids are making, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
going to be amazing to see, right? And then there's also going to be like I think the idea of like personal AI, maybe not. I think your phone, I think there's going to be something, okay, this is going to be, I think your phone is going to become your personal AI,
Yes.
like
It's going to be the first
whenever.
extension before it
Yeah.
becomes like a wearable device.
Yeah. But this phone is going to know so many things about you AI wise. It's going to be, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Her with Joaquin
No,
Phoenix,
I know about it though, like the
but
concept where he
the
falls
whole
in love.
concept, yeah, he falls in love with an AI
Yeah,
bot, right? Which is pretty much from his phone, which he buys, and
crazy.
he puts a headset in his ear and talks to her, and she is an AI getting all the information from him to become a better girlfriend slash lover or romantic interest, right? And there's not just him, people around the world have this device. And I'm just sitting there going, well, that's our phone in like 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
when we can actually make an AI lover, so to speak, that
There
just
was an
talks to
OnlyFans
us.
girl who did this. She turned herself into an AI. She took her likeness, the way
Mm-hmm.
she talks, her personality. She already had
Yeah.
like fans on OnlyFans,
Yeah.
and she had someone create that into an AI chatbot that you could actually talk to, like via text or I
Mm-hmm.
think even like phone call. Like it would AI her voice and
Yeah.
respond real time.
Yeah.
And she was charging something crazy like $2.99 a minute or whatever. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
the fuck insane. Like
And people will
people
pay for it.
people will pay for it. That's what's so
Yeah.
nuts, man. Like
But
people
like
will
that,
always pay for it.
and then like she's doing it in like the most like rudimentary way, right? Like the basic way
Mm-hmm.
to do it. So that's like the 2023 version of this technology, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there's going to be
Yeah.
someone like you already said that's 16 fooling around with it going, "Oh, wait a minute, I can make a full entity." And it's not even going to be like uh what's the word I'm thinking of? Like I'm drawing a blank right now. But it's not going to be perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to be self-aware or anything like that, but it's going to be aware enough of your personal likings and your personal traits and your comings and goings. Like, what do you, Brett wakes up at 6 a.m. every day. Phone's going to be
Yeah.
ready to say, "Good morning, Brett." Like, it's going to be that wild in a couple of years, right?
Dude, I
And
already
it could be,
saw someone use it to book them an appointment. They just told their phone,
mhm,
the phone AI assistant that they were like, it's like in beta that they were testing. They were
yeah,
like, call the barbershop and book me an appointment for 3 p.m. on Thursday. And
right,
then you hear the phone call of the AI voice calling the barbershop, and the
yeah.
barbershop in this beta experiment is also using an AI receiver.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's two robots communicating to each other and then
Yeah,
booking the appointment.
yeah.
Like,
That's
the fuck?
again super basic, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's like it's amazing that that's happening, and just think what that's going to be in 20 years, right?
Fucking unreal.
Like there's things that you get crazy with it and think about it. Go like say like your mom passed away, but you have audio files of your mom. You're like, you know what? I'm going to make a mom
Isn't someone trying to
servant.
do that?
Probably
There's a guy, Terrence McKenna, I think maybe.
I know
I
of
think
that person,
he's very big into like psychedelics, and I think
right?
he's trying to recreate his father, like in
That's
like
wild,
an AI system, using like previous speeches and like stuff like
right?
that.
That'd be crazy. But that is a total possibility, right? And
Yeah.
where you're just like, will you ever actually miss your family anymore? Like you will have this idea of like load mom, but right? Like just load mom, and you can have a conversation with your mom, right? And that's not even like, maybe it wouldn't be like my mom. My mom's 60 something right now, and she's not super tech involved, but the moms of today, who are the babies of today, who are super like Instagrammed up, TikToked up. So you have all the video, all the voices that you can get these ideas from.
Yeah.
Those
Social media generations. Like,
exactly. The social media generations will be able to really, their kids will be able to go, well, generate mom. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And they'll have a mom from, like, just think of how wild those kids, like, because there's kids on the internet right now that are 6, right, on TikTok and stuff, and just think if they live the whole life and have children, you can get a mom from 6 to 80 or whatever, right, and be like, that child could go, give me mom from 19 whatever, like
Yeah.
2064. I want to see that mom, the mom that I, or like the young mom or your old mom, and have a conversation with
Yeah.
her, right?
Bro.
Just to see that, or even your dad, whoever you like, right?
Oh,
So like there's things to come that aren't here yet, but they're in the infancy. And it's like when you sit there and think about it, it's like, how, when do we actually start distinguishing reality
yeah.
from the stuff that we're making? And there's still a whole other aspect of this too, because like we're talking about some crazy AI things that really free up everything. But like the one thing I always wonder about is like the actual economy of all of this, right? Because
Hmm.
like we're talking right now, we could spend $2 on some chick on OnlyFans to give me that experience, right? I have the
Sure.
cash,
Yeah.
I make cash, right? I
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
work and I make money. But what happens when literally all those tech jobs or certain jobs are actually gone and no one's actually making money. So it comes back to the idea of like, do we have to run a universal basic income so everyone's needs are actually met? And then we can have this utopian freedom in a
Yeah.
sense, right?
Because I feel like, okay, if you want the government to stay in place to get this like universal basic income,
Yeah.
you would have to almost first put in place like a rule that's like if your company, let's say, uses AI at all, you
Mhm.
have to pay this much more in taxes, and
Mhm.
that tax money, there'll be like an AI tax on
Yeah.
services, and all the AI tax on services, like this service was created and served by AI, so the AI gets taxed
Mhm.
on every transaction. If all that AI tax money goes back to the government and then gets pushed out to people as like
Yeah.
monthly checks or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that to me seems like, I mean, I'm sure there's something that could go wrong and someone could poke holes in that, but like
Yeah.
that seems like the best way, because it's like otherwise, how do you, if no one's working, then there's no taxes being paid on the money that's
Right.
being earned, and you're
Like,
not spending money to be taxed. So it's
yeah.
like, where do you get that money from?
So a part of this kind of feels like communism
Mm-hmm.
because you're like, okay, everyone's getting free money, and there should be probably a tier system to all of this too. Because
Yeah,
I've thought about this. Okay, so it's like everyone starts off at like say like tier one, right? And it's 100,000 a year. Everyone gets that, but it actually does get taxed. So you don't really get 100,000 a year. You get 80,000 a year because
sure.
20 would go back to the government. So there's
Yeah,
always a tax generating going on, and you would still get taxed on all the goods that it would still work as normal everyday
yeah,
money, right? But you're already taxed. It's the taxes are on everything, but you get a good enough lump sum that you should be able to survive off of it. And that's just tier one, you know what I'm saying? And then if you want to go tier two, because you say you want to work on robots and stuff, well, tier two means you get 200,000, right? And then it's like tier three, tier four, tier five, you get more and more money because you want to contribute in certain ways to society. But if you never want to contribute to society and you just want to chill, we got you covered, right? And you can
yeah.
just hang out in tier one. But
I
there's
hate the
this is where,
limitation on it though. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
I get where you're coming from, like trying to find a way to, but again, yeah, it always comes back
yeah,
to communism. If you want the more money, then you have to do these specific things. And it's
yeah,
like, it's usually stuff that like not everybody wants to do. So then you feel
mm-hmm,
limited in the sense of freedom because you're like, well, before all this, I could just, go get a job at this place that pays more and then maybe
mm-hmm,
move up. And then, but that job no longer exists. No
yeah,
jobs exist.
yeah,
Only jobs that exist are these jobs. And if you want that money, you got to do those jobs.
yeah.
So it's like,
But like the thing is, okay, because we are thinking with like maybe the idea of like the concept of money and like wanting more, which is just capitalistic greed in a sense.
mm-hmm,
But if we hit the right spot of 100,000, you're like, you know what, you're good. You have the food, you
yeah,
have some land, you have money, you could do whatever you want.
yeah.
Then almost feels like the only reason why you would want to go to the next level is because you just want to. Because there's
But I feel like there's like Mr. Beast is a perfect example of this, right? Like
Mhm.
there's lots of people who make millions of dollars and they spend it on like a mansion or a Lamborghini, another Lamborghini that they'll never drive, whatever,
Yeah.
right? They spend frivolously.
Mhm.
Mr. Beast though is very much of the mindset where whatever money he makes on a video, he's going to take that money and spend it on the next video to make it 1,000 times better than the previous one. In the
Yeah.
process of doing that, he's also employing a lot of people. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like he's creating job opportunity from this ambition to make the best video possible for
Mhm.
his like viewership or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like what's the drive for him to go create whatever it's called, Feastables or Mr. Beast Burger or all these other
Right.
businesses? I don't think it comes from like a capitalistic greed in his sense.
Mhm.
It comes from wanting to expand so that he can give more.
Right.
But if you implement this system where everyone has,
Mhm.
and there's nobody has nothing, everybody has the same amount every single year, then
Yeah.
there's no need for that ambition to want to provide for people.
True.
in that sense, you know.
Yeah. But well, yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to think of like, would
Again,
you
he's an
still?
anomaly, so it's like most people
But
are
like, it,
capitalistic, greedy fucks. Yeah.
true. But if you want to say, okay, so Mr. Beast likes, and I follow Mr. Beast, so I know what you're talking about. And okay, so you could say that he has the ambition to give back because he is driven by a society that does not do
It
that.
doesn't give back.
We
Sure.
don't
Yeah.
give back. Like nothing's
Yeah.
given. So in a world where we're like, hey, we gave it to you, do you need to care about that anymore? Right? Everyone
Yeah.
is taken care of. Because I know Mr. Beast comes from a place of he wasn't wealthy or anything like that
No,
either. He was
no.
poor. Well, not
Yeah.
poor, but blue
But
collar.
yeah, lower class,
Right.
like
And so
lower middle class, whatever.
he has that
Yeah.
mentality in him of like, I need to give back to the community and try to bring other
But
people
if
up with
everybody
me.
had, he would
But if
never, that would
he
never have
would
been a thought.
no.
And
So
therefore the
now,
virtue then becomes null and void because you're like, well, I don't care that you gave back because everyone has.
yeah, because everyone has,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? But then okay, so like that's the main reason why I was thinking of a tier system is because we probably would need people to do things still, right?
Sure.
And some people are going to have that desire to go, I want to work with my hands. I want to go build robots or I want to build the next big thing. And like there's going to be people that would be just chilling in that tier one going, I made this new thing or I have a creative idea, but I have to go up another rank. Like
Hmm.
so even if we were to take maybe there is no need for a tier system at all, and everyone's just like, you know what, 100,000 a year, do whatever
Yeah.
you want, and if you don't want to build robots, we'll have to figure out how to make robots to build robots, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
also at that point, wouldn't we have robots to build robots? You know what
You'd
I'm
hope
saying?
so. Yeah,
We'd
yeah.
probably just have certain people to run code. Like, how crazy could it get? Like
But
to
like
the point where it's like,
I'm trying to think like of that person who's getting the 100K who doesn't want to build the robots but wants to grow beyond the 100K. They're just going to
yeah,
get it from the other people who have the 100K by what you said, like doing something creative. They
mm-hmm,
they have all this time now on their hands and they finally get to paint and they make a
mm-hmm,
beautiful painting and then they sell that for 2,000. Okay? Well,
yeah,
that the person who bought it for 2,000, that was their choice to spend
yeah,
their 2,000 that month or that year, whatever, on
yeah,
that thing, and now that person gets their money. So it's like there will always be ways to make more money,
yeah.
regardless of a tier system, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's just like the thing is like when you have everything, what is the drive
Mm-hmm.
and motivation, right? Because like if you even look at yourself, like our own drive is like, well, I need money to do these things. I'm trying to get a better job to make more money so I could do these things and
Yeah,
survive. But when you take all that out, what's the drive anymore other
yeah,
than maybe at that point the drive changes and we're like, I'm seeking enlightenment, I'm better self, better awareness, I get to actually create art and put out what I think needs to be existent in this world, and
mm-hmm.
some people will like it and some people will not like it, and that's society, right? And then you could look at the idea of Star Trek. Okay, maybe space exploration would be the thing that we do because everything is handled here on Earth, right? So
Yeah,
now the
yeah.
next best thing is to go, all right,
Let's
let's
go
go see
build some
space.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go see
Right?
space.
So we're all just going to become these like hippie explorers
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because everything's taken care of, right? Like I think everything changes when we get to a point of maximum leisure, everything changes, right?
Yeah.
And it
You
feels like
start
we're
thinking beyond. Like, I wonder what your daily thought process would be if the whole world never had to worry about a bill or where
yeah,
their next meal is going to come from. What
yes,
thoughts would they be having? It would be insane.
society would be totally different,
Totally
right?
different. People would be
And
nicer to each other and like
it should be,
yeah, yeah,
right? Because
you'd
everything's
think, I'd like to think,
yeah, and like sure you wouldn't be driving anymore, but that's all right. You have a car that still takes you
I don't got a
somewhere.
job to go to.
Yeah, like you could still go to the movies,
Yeah,
like things would
yeah,
still be created for you to enjoy, but now
yeah,
it's like almost anything would be being created at that time because
yeah.
everyone has limited amount of freedom to do whatever. So it's like society itself would shift. Maybe there'd be more philosophers, there'd be like just more crazy thoughts. We probably
True.
would go, who wants to go to space, right?
Because you look at like Rome, when philosophy really started to like come out of that area, it was
hmm,
because Rome had it like figured out. They had conquered
yeah,
most of the areas around them. They were wealthy. Like everybody was just, there were people just chilling, thinking about what is this now? Now we get to
yeah,
just think about life. Like, what is
yeah.
this?
And now today we wake up at 6 a.m. and go, well, I gotta go to work. No
Yeah.
thoughts today.
No time for thoughts
No
today,
time,
folks.
no time for that, And then you get to have that
Yeah.
nice coffee and you're not thinking of thoughts, just thinking of work, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh fuck, what do I gotta do at work today? There goes those thoughts, right?
Fucking brutal.
Yeah. So it's like once we start handling all this stuff, and like I see AI as the first gateway of handling shit,
Hmm.
where it's like, okay, we don't have to really worry about too much because AI is handling it. What's next, right? How much more limiting and free will we be when AI is an integral part of people's lives?
Yeah.
And that's
True.
not going to happen. Like, what's so wild too is like how easily we adopted Chat GPT when it came out,
Like in a
right?
year ago, it was nowhere,
No one
not
knew
even a
about it,
thing.
and then it just showed up one day on TikTok, and it's like, what is this? And everyone dove on it, and it's like, okay, we can't put that back in Pandora's box, right? That's a tool that's
Oh,
going to be
the
with us
genie is
forever.
out of the bottle.
Exactly. So it's like you could try and put it back, but
Yeah.
it's not going to happen because the world has it now. And what's going to happen, right? So just go along for the ride and let's see.
Yeah, right. That like
Right?
I mean, we only got about 10 minutes left here, but like um your name on Instagram is Bret Outside. So how do you balance nature with whatever the fuck is going on technologically? You know what I mean? Like, where do we find that
Yeah.
balance as humans? And
Well, I think nature will always be there. You know what I'm saying? But we have to watch out
hopefully,
with nature. We have to watch out. See, so that's the thing too. Okay, so right now nature's very all over the place, right? It's kind of wild, and that's how nature is. But nature doesn't give a fuck about us, right? We just
yeah,
exist. We're not. It doesn't care what we do. It will kill us if it wants to. You know what I'm saying? And AI could it be potentially a harmonious balance between nature and technology once we start getting these AI things happening where we go, hey, we can actually start figuring out how to heal the earth in a way. And maybe there is a way to have a balance with it. And maybe there's going to be new technologies like figure out like we don't need gas anymore or oil or plastics. Those are all future things to come from this technology might actually spit out the answer, right?
true. You could
Like,
use AI to find the
yeah,
calculation that turns water into gas, whatever it
yeah,
is, right? Like
whatever it is.
fuel, I mean, like not even using gas, but like
Yeah,
turning it into fuel of some sort.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
Very
as we
true.
start getting more used to using AI to start figuring things out, it could eventually help repair the world at the same time. And then
Yeah,
I think as AI evolves, we will see robotics evolve because of AI as well. Because I think those two things are going to go hand in hand. And then from that will also become human integration with AI and robotics. So like nature's going to exist, but I think we'll have to use the technology to fix it, which will help
yeah,
fix us, right?
true.
And
Because we
then
pushed
it'll,
ourselves away from nature.
yeah, we definitely
Like
have. Nature's
we
so
did
far
it out of
removed.
survival because
Yeah,
it's like we don't want to be near fucking killing machines every night, like
yeah,
always on guard.
yeah.
But it's like once light pollution took over, it's like that's a wrap
Mhm.
on nature. Now it's like a weekend getaway where you're like,
Yeah,
oh, let's go out to the woods. And it's like,
yeah.
oh, like everybody's like a little uneasy and scared. I'm like, this is how we started, right? Like barefoot, just walking through.
It is funny going into the woods at night. I do not like going into them.
Yeah, right. You feel
There's
this
like
like
there's
ancestral trauma like creeping up, like,
there's
oh, something's gonna
something
kill me.
percolating. You're like, I'm not supposed to be
No,
here.
no.
And you like quickly go back to your tent. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm safe in my little,
Yeah.
my little.
Like it's insane that like the real only reason why we're like bipedal and stand is because at one point one of our ancestors was like, let me get a look over this tall grass and see if there's any lions sneaking through the grass trying to kill me.
Yeah. And then we're like, oh, there is. Let's go.
Yeah. And then everybody's just fucking
Yeah,
seeing
oh,
the first like iteration of like a human standing up and running must have been the funniest thing in the world for everybody that was still on all fours.
oh
You
yeah.
know,
They were like
because not
walking around.
everybody stood up at once, right? Like it was a couple people, and then they were like, "Hey, that looks kind of
Yeah.
cool." Like,
And be like, how'd you do that, Steve?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I pulled myself up.
yeah.
You
Grab
see
his
everyone like
brain,
grabbing on trees and stuff. Like,
like they're on
just
skates or something.
yeah, their like knees are wobbling and stuff. They're like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. I can't do it. I feel sick. Like
yeah. And let me
falls
sit down
over.
again. I gotta lay
Yeah,
down here. You guys go on without me.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
the
yeah.
lion can kill me. It's all
Fuck yeah,
right.
I'll just let the lion eat me. Yeah,
Don't
somebody.
worry.
There was a pessimist back then who was like, "These fucking idiots, like standing. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell is the point in that?"
And a lion got him.
Just got murked by a lion.
And then the guy beside him was like, I'm gonna stand now.
Yeah. I guess we're standing.
Yeah, I guess we should do this. Have you guys tried this running thing yet?
Yeah. It
It's like
really helps keep you alive.
was like everyone just walking after they figured that out. They're like, let's just walk.
Yeah. They were just trying to walk really fast, like they
Yeah.
hadn't figured out running.
Someone tripped and stumbled and like, wait a minute, what's this? Is this running?
Oh my
Oh, we
god.
catch ourselves and
Holy
then they start
shit.
running.
That would have been
Okay,
a
man.
wild. Like that's what I want. Like AI and VR to reach a point where you could be in a like kids could be in a history class and they put on VR goggles and they're there in these moments being recreated, showing them like, you know, here's what we think happened, but here's what it would look like, basically.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Fucking
I
nuts.
think like and augmented reality is gonna be big too.
Oh yeah.
Like this, there's so many crazy things. There's so many crazy technological things.
We could go on for like 3 hours.
Yeah, there's just so much coming that
yeah.
I think people need to kind of think about it. Like just start opening your mind
in the front of your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, like don't be afraid of AI. That's why I look at it. Like embrace it, try it, fool around with it because it's not going anywhere. So you should try.
And it's only going to get better. So you should have at least some idea of how it works. You know?
Yeah. You should like that was something like my dad always said because he was like a big tech freak. That's where I get it from. And he was kind of like, just you need to know all of it. No, like because my dad was old when he was getting into technology and bringing it home. He's like, you got to know this stuff. This is the future. You know, and it's like you don't stop learning. You know, especially when it comes to technology. And it's like
smart
he's
guy.
right. He's very right. And it's like, yeah, I don't care for Chat GPT right now, but I'm gonna fool around with AI because I want to know all about it.
Yeah, man. It's saved me hours doing like YouTube descriptions, doing captions for videos. I used to spend so long typing out captions for videos, and now I found an AI service that just does it a million times better than I could and faster.
Oh yeah. I was like using Chat GPT for YouTube descriptions, and I would just be like, write me this like thing because I was doing movie collections. I'm like, here's the 10 movies I collected. Write me a blog, like a little bio about the 10 movies I just bought so they can read it. And Chat GPT was like, here you go. I'm like, cool, cut, paste, done. And it's like Chat GPT, do me SEO for this. It's like, yep, okay, here you go. And it's
what's your YouTube channel? I'll pull it up.
It's called Popcorn Beard.
Popcorn Beard?
Yeah. I do movie reviews for fun.
Oh, I typed in Popcorn Bear, which is a channel that exists.
That I should reach out to him like, yo, what up?
Buddy? What up? Should we do a collab or what?
Yeah, let's do a collab. That'd be funny.
Here, I'm gonna shout out your social stuff so people can give you a follow. It's Bret Goes Outside on Instagram. Bret Goes Outside on TikTok as well. And then, as we just mentioned, Popcorn Beard on YouTube. Is there anything else that you want to shout out? Let people know where to find you?
No, that's pretty much everywhere. Honestly, that's cool. I hope we come back again. We'll talk more about.
Yeah, dude, I'd love to have you back on. We could talk about whatever subject you want to talk about. We didn't even really get into you. Like getting to know you more.
People know who I am.
Well, we'll have to have a whole episode where I just interview you about you because that's what happens usually. Sometimes is first time coming on the show. I unless because sometimes people give me a word and then it doesn't. It sparks like a little bit of a conversation. But Futurism, I knew I'm like this is going to be the whole podcast because we could go forever on that for sure.
I could still go.
Yeah, man, I'd love to have you back on for sure.
All right, cool, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. It was great to meet you.
Great meeting you too.
I'll do all the call to action stuff now. It's Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, everybody. Appreciate you watching. Go follow me on patreon.com/the Johnny Rogers. That's how you get these episodes early. But until next time, I've been Johnny Rogers. This has been Bret Measor. We'll see you later.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.